What's up, y'all? Welcome to The Neurotic Buyer. My name is Ben Wexler. Uh, this is my third YouTube channel. It's the first video of that YouTube channel. I started getting into review videos. I posted them to my yoga channel, which is Wex Power, Wexpower. And I also started posting my men's work stuff to that same channel, which is at Thrive King. And it just doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to split them all up. So those are my three YouTube channels. And this is my one. This is the Neurotic Buyer, or in this episode, more aptly named the Neurotic Seller. Okay? I have honestly no idea how anyone is going to find this video. This is not like a very searchable video. So if you do find it, congratulations, because this is probably going to be the dopest video about reselling your stuff online. For another thing, I don't like super YouTubey, cheesy stuff. Anything that you see from me, at least from now on, is going to be just very straightforward. I don't like flashy headlines and subscribe, you guys. What's up, everybody? YouTube. Okay, so anything with my name on it is gonna be real. All right. So another disclaimer: I am literally not making any money off of this YouTube video. I have nothing to sell you at all. All right. Most YouTube videos are made because they're trying to funnel you to some kind of something that they're trying to sell you. In 2024, that's the reality of it. Okay, it used to just be for fun back in the good old days, but now everything has some kind of angle. Okay, the only angle that I'm trying to play here is that I genuinely think that the world would be better if everyone took a little piece from this philosophy that I'm about to bestow upon you. Okay, and that is the philosophy of buying and selling stuff. Okay, mostly selling, but you're gonna see how that wraps back around into buying. Okay, so this video is all gonna be about how to sell your stuff online, why to sell your stuff online, the who, what, when, the where, and the why, and the how. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get into it. First of all, or second of all, I guess, the reason that I'm making this video is because I have just done the biggest audit of my life of all of my things. I'm prepping to get ready to finish out my van build, which that'll probably be its own YouTube channel as well. I have tons of video on that. I bought my van 3.5 years ago, and it's just been this really long project ever since, and I'm finally gonna finish it. But before that, and if you don't know, it's about van life. Okay, I'm about to go live in my van full time. Right now, I'm at my mom's new apartment here in Scottsdale. I've been living with her for the past few years. That's its own issue. But I have just audited everything, all of my possessions in this entire house, and even a lot of my mom's, because she's not a very organized person and I'm super neurotic. I probably have OCD. It's not been diagnosed, but I probably have OCD, and I love that about me. I don't care about fighting it anymore. I used to kind of try to see it as a problem, but I actually think it's one of my gifts. It's something that I have come to really love about myself, because most people aren't neurotic. Most people aren't that particular. I like things to be very precise and very exact, and everything has a place and everything has a methodology. And the reason for that, I think, besides it being visually pleasing to me and my OCD brain, it's that whenever you are organized, you are fluid. Okay? If right now, if you were to ask me if I had something, I could tell you definitively if I have it and where it is. There is no questioning. There is no looking for stuff. And just imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you could live like that. Okay, my mom actually kind of chewed me out. Like she was just like, "You're wasting your time. Like, what are you doing?" And the thing is that she's not neurotic like I am. I am, and it's not a waste of time to me. It's honestly like so beautiful to me, and I just kind of wanted to take this moment in my life to kind of transmit where I'm coming from. Okay, so that was supposed to save that for later, but that's one of the benefits of doing this is you go through and you audit all of your stuff, like all of your stuff. Your possessions have a lot of power over you. They're called your possessions, but if they're sitting there, especially not being used, they have a lot of power over you and they're draining a lot more of you than you think. Okay, every possession, right? Everything that you see, it takes up a certain capacity of your mind, right? That's why when you're in a messy room, like you feel messy, you know. It's like this. It's a very spiritual, psychic thing, and that's why it's important to clear everything out. And so as we go through this, you're gonna see how this is a very spiritual thing that we're doing here. Okay, if you have ownership over your castle, you have ownership over a really big portion of your life. Most people don't even know how to clean up after themselves, let alone have all of their ducks completely in a row. Okay, now you might not value it as much as I do, but I'm sure, and yeah, there's like the 80-20 rule, which is like only do stuff that's like, actually no, that's not the 80-20 rule, but like they say like do something that's like it's just going to get 80% of the result that you want, and that's good enough. It doesn't have to be 100% because you have the law of diminishing returns. Yeah, if that's you, by all means, I'm super neurotic and I own it. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so I told you I'm going to answer the who, what, why, the when, and the how, right, of selling your stuff online. Okay, the who is obvious, that's you. I'm going to start with the why. Okay, why should you take time and like stop your life and put everything on the, pump the brakes and just clear everything and get rid of all the stuff that is holding you back? Why should you do that? Okay, actually what feels natural for me is starting with when should you do that. When, for me, transitional phases of your life, getting ready to move, right? This is probably the biggest time, or once you move in somewhere too, which right now I'm actually kind of both of those places. I moved my mother and I to Scottsdale. She found this apartment, and so not only did we move from San Jose, but we moved to here, right? So when you move, you have to clear everything out, and then that's your first opportunity. But unfortunately, you're usually compressed for time, which that's your greatest hindrance whenever you're moving, because you could list all your stuff and make a lot of money you could make maximum dollar off of everything that you're gonna have to get rid of, but since there's a time crunch, a lot of people have to throw their stuff away, which really sucks. And that's another reason why I'm hoping that I want this to kind of become a movement. Like I want people to like really embody this as a way of being, like to honor your things, and to honor your things and to just give them the time that they should be allowed. Okay? So that your first opportunity is when you're moving. Your second opportunity is when you move in. Right? When you move in, you unpack everything, and then that's kind of your next window to confront or be confronted by all of your possessions. And it's very important to relax, because you can, when you open the box it's always the miscellaneous box is the worst box, because that's just the box where you just don't know what to do with all this stuff, and that's the one that causes the most anxiety. Right? Everything else it's pretty much straightforward. Like the shirts go here, this goes here, it's very, but the miscellaneous box and all the little things like that kind of drives you nuts. Instead, just relax, become one with the process, and don't fight the process. Okay? Relax and know that it will pay off. Like going through every little thing, like it will pay off, you know? And it'll just make you feel better. It'll just make you feel great. Okay? So right now I'm kind of in two, right? So I moved from San Jose. We're kind of still settling in here, and I'm getting ready to do van life. So it's like another move again. So that's the space that I'm coming from, and that's why it makes perfect sense for me to do this right now. I also don't have very much income, so it just makes perfect sense for me in my life to do this. I wouldn't necessarily say to stop. You know, if your train is moving full speed ahead and life is doing all right, like you don't really need to stop and do this. That wouldn't make sense, right? But if you are in a transition phase, make it happen, okay? Or another conceivably transition phase is like if you are just overwhelmed by all your stuff. Like maybe you are kind of a hoarder and you just have tons of stuff and it's just getting to the point where you really need a cleansing, right? Then pump the brakes and you'll know because it'll scream at you. It'll just keep screaming at you that this is causing problems, okay? At that point, stop the train. I actually find meditating, if you meditate in the chaos, you bless the space with a certain energy, and you will just start to cleanse. You just will start to cleanse. If you can go into the heart of the mess and be stillness, you're almost like pushing it out in a way. Okay? So that's the when. Okay, the who is obviously you, and now the why. Okay? Always start with the why, right? There's a whole book on that. Start with the why. If your why is strong enough, then everything else kind of falls into place. Okay? The first one is obviously money. Okay, that one's obvious. You can make a lot of money off of the stuff that you sell. Probably not nearly as much as what you spent on, right? Like if you spent, a shirt is a really good example of this because you can spend 30, 35 bucks on a shirt and you might get $8 back after fees. 10, 12 bucks after fees. It's like shirts are the worst. But like electronics, right? I bought a used set of speakers and a subwoofer and stands and a bunch of really expensive cables for like $500 or $550. And I ended up keeping the cables because they're Mogamis, they're really expensive audio cables. But I sold everything else for about $450. And it was just because I was trying to get it gone. If I wanted to, I probably could have got $500. So that the rate of retention there is really high. And it depends, right? It depends on what you're selling. Okay? But okay, your shirts, right? Let's go back to this shirt example. Yeah, maybe you're only making $8 a shirt, but if you sell 5 shirts, that's $40. And then it kind of, man, $40 is that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay? And the other thing is that like another why that plays nicely into the previous why is that whenever something is used for the last time, that's when it dies, right? There's a quote that they say that someone only truly dies when their name is spoken for the last time, which is a really good quote. I believe the Greeks or the Romans used to say that. Well, Ben Wexler, believe that I believe that there's life in objects, right? But we give it the life, right? This Yeti cup has life because I use this like nobody's business. I drink from it every day. And I love it very much, right? And in that way, it has life, right? But when it just sits there, it does not have life. And also, they say that the Easterns say, Eastern medicine says that all disease in your body comes from stagnation. When something is not moving properly, that's when you get disease. Okay, so this is a very spiritual thing that we have here. Whenever you have items that sit, okay, they're just potential energy, right? This Yeti cup has kinetic energy because it is being used. A book on a shelf, it's only potential energy, but when you pick it up and you read it, now it's kinetic energy, and we want to give these things want to be used, right? They're almost loved when you use them. So by not using them, you're neglecting them. You're not loving them, right? And so they would be better served with someone else that would use them, right? So this goes for those items of clothing that you kind of like, but not really. You know, you kind of like it, you spend a lot of money on it, so you don't want to see it go, but you never actually wear it, right? Sell that because someone else will wear it a lot, and then that thing will get the sunlight that it deserves. Okay? I kind of talked about it like when you clear something out, it actually allows new stuff to come in too, right? If you have 8 jackets or even 2 jackets and you've had them for 7, 8 years, and this is out especially to my men, like to the boys, bro, like this is the first pair of blue jeans I bought in 8 years. Like, because I had 1 pair of blue jeans, and that was my pair of blue jeans. And that's just kind of how we roll as men. And it's like, even though you desperately need new jeans, you still have this pair of jeans, and they're kind of doing the job. And so there's no need for you to get a new pair of jeans. Perfect example. I had a pair of black 7 jeans. That 7 jeans are designer jeans. I firmly believe in buying designer jeans, which we're gonna get into that as well. They're like $220, but I justify that because it lasts years. Again, years for jeans especially. Those jeans lasted about 4 or 5 years. Then I was playing with my little nephew and niece, and I ripped them. Okay, now these jeans were really snug. And that's kind of going out of style now, right? The Gen Zers are bringing in the baggy stuff, and I can see it now because, you know, we used to have it baggy when I was a teenager too. And I took it as a blessing. You know, they were my favorite jeans, and if they never ripped, I would have never bought a new pair. But now I have a nice pair. I think it's called raw denim, and I really like them. And they're looser, and they're with the times, and you know, so getting rid of stuff allows you to get new stuff, right? I talked about the audit. Okay, when you audit all of your things, you feel so much clearer mentally. It really is a beautiful feeling. And then you know, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And I truly believe that if everyone embodied this, if everyone they consciously bought and consciously sold things, that the world would just be a way better place. I really believe that. I really believe that. Okay. You know, if everyone had this mentality, you'd be way more selective about buying things. Because if you begin with the end in mind, if you begin thinking about, okay, how am I going to get rid of this thing when it's time to go? From that frame, it makes buying things a lot easier, okay? And then, you know, that dovetails nicely into my next point, which is that, you know, you would take better care of your things too, right? Because you know that you're going to want to eventually sell these, you know? And so that's kind of baked into it as well. And obviously, there would be less waste. I can't stand throwing things away and knowing that they're gonna go to landfill. You know, again, it only dies when it's used for the last time, a physical possession. Okay? So the next point I was gonna say was you know, consciously buying. You want to buy from this frame, from this reseller's frame, you're gonna want to buy nicer things, right? And it makes sense financially, and I'll tell you why. But first, it's way easier for me to sell a Lululemon jacket than it is for me to sell a Nike jacket. Okay? It's way easier for me to sell a Ruka tank top than a Walmart tank top. You know, and so it actually serves you to buy nicer things. And check this math out, okay? So If you bought a Nike jacket for like $50, which is actually probably cheaper than it is in 2024, thanks to old Joe. Um, okay, you might be able to sell like a Nike hoodie. We'll say $50. You might be able to sell it for like 15, $18, and then after fees, that's like $8 to $10 in your pocket after fees and shipping, depending on where you sell it. Okay, versus if you bought something from like Lululemon for $100, okay, you could probably sell it for 50, maybe even 60. Okay, and then after fees, you're left with 40 to $50. That's back in your account. Okay, well, 50, minus, we'll say $10. Okay, that your cost was 50, you made 10. That's a $40 loss. Okay, versus if you buy something for 100 and then you sell it and you get 50 after fees, right? That's a $50 loss. Okay, so for $10 more, I get to wear Lululemon. I get to wear something that looks better, it feels better, it moves better. Okay, it lasts longer. Okay, so really, it's not actually, you want to, everyone compares Nike's 50, Lulu is 100. Okay, but when you factor in the sale cost, the reselling cost, you're only spending at $10 extra. And the Lululemon is going to stay in circulation longer because that other person might sell it after they're done if they take good care of it. And so we want to buy nice things. You don't want to buy China made crap. All right? So the math checks out. Okay? All right, so we talked about the who, the why, and the when. Okay, now we're going to get into the what. What do I like to sell? Because not all things sell equally. Okay? For the most part, you can sell whatever you want. There's really just a few things that just kind of suck for selling. What do I like to sell? Electronics. That's a good one. Okay, as long as they're not outdated. If they're outdated, just wrap them up and take them to your nearest e-waste recycling center. Okay, there's companies nearby you that if you look them up, they will take your old routers, your old modems, your old chargers, your old whatever, and they'll strip it down and recycle what they can out of it, and then they make money out of it, which is cool. I'm happy for that instead of just throwing stuff away. Okay, then music equipment. Music equipment's always good. You can get 50 to 60% back, or like I said in my with the speakers, like I really only lost about $50, minus the cables. That's not bad at all. Furniture is great. Always furniture. Just take good care of your furniture, and if not, advertise it. Like let them know what's wrong. And then clothes kind of suck. To be honest with you, clothes kind of suck unless you buy nice clothes. If you have nice clothes, it's very easy. It's a lot easier when you have nice clothes. It's way harder to sell clothes that are worn down, and it's way harder to sell no name brand clothes. Okay. The other things I don't like to sell are books. Yeah, books really suck because you're not, like, after shipping, it's just you're not gonna make any money. Okay, unless it's a very special book. Like you can see all these books back here. Those are all books I'm getting rid of, but they're on my desk and not on their way to the nearest bookstore because I just want to at least skim through those books before I get rid of them. So that's going to be kind of a long-standing project. But there are a few books, like textbooks and stuff, you might be able to make some money doing that. Let's get into where, okay? Where do you want to sell them, okay? There's pretty much 3 places you want to sell stuff. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and Poshmark. Now, Poshmark is only for clothes, okay? You could list some other stuff on there too, but it's mostly a clothing thing. And honestly, I sold a lot of stuff on Poshmark. If I had it to do over again, I would have sold most of my stuff on eBay. Okay, especially my nice, like my Lululemons, like that kind of thing, because that's very easily searchable. Um, like on eBay, but Poshmark takes 20% of all of your fees, right? 20%'s a lot, and they charge like $8 for shipping. So if you list a shirt for 15 bucks, the person on the other end, the buyer, sees 15 plus 8, 23. Now, there's a lot of shirts that I might pay 12 or $15 for, but not 23 for, you know? And then so it's like, okay, well, are you gonna eat the cost of the shipping? At that point, you're making like $2 or $3 a shirt. It's like, it's not worth it, okay? And you know, if you know, you list something for 90 bucks and then you do the free shipping, you're walking away with like a little over 60. So Poshmark eats a lot of that up. Okay, the benefit is there's this whole social media aspect of it. I think that's more for women. I've never there's like they have like Poshmark parties and stuff. Like you'll get notifications like there's a party happening, and I guess like it's just a group chat where people get in there and they just share their stuff, and everybody's buying each other's stuff. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I've never once done one of those things. That doesn't sound appealing to me at all. And I don't want to friend people for their. I don't know. It just seems like it would make more sense in a chick mind. But for me, it's like, no, I just want to list my thing and you could buy it or not. Okay? But if I had it to do over again, I would just list, because I have had little quirky items that I would sell that I didn't like know if anybody would buy. Like I had this, I bought this, it was like a fleur de lis made out of skulls from like a voodoo shop in New Orleans. And I was like, how is anybody even going to find this? And somebody found it and somebody bought it. And then there's this like kind of rave company called Represent, and similar story, like somebody found it, somebody bought it. So like I would list those kind of things there just to see. Um, but for the most part, I would use eBay. Facebook Marketplace is great for things that are too big to ship. So for me, that's like musical instruments, like the speakers I sold locally, these jiu-jitsu mats. Okay, I'm gonna sell those locally because just after it's gonna cost me. I'm not a corporation. I don't have a UPS account. It's gonna cost me way too much money to ship that. So that's all Facebook Marketplace. Where Facebook really sucks is whenever you list something, you're gonna get tons and tons of messages from people, and it's people are very ruthless about it. They before they even read anything about your item, they'll just see the picture and then they'll send you because it just takes one click for them. They see the message, they see your listing, and then they click a button, and the button asks you, "Hi, is this available?" And it's even more annoying because Facebook sends you two notifications when they do that. First, they send you their name. It's like, hey, this person's about to message you. You're like, oh boy. And then it's the exact same thing, words every time. Is this item still available? And it's just like, you get, like, I listed this, like, power adapter for 10 bucks. It's an inverter for your car. And I've gotten hundreds of messages and nobody bought it. And it's just it takes up way too much time. It takes up way too much time. So only big items like that are worth a decent amount, and don't list anything for free because you're gonna get a bunch of tweakers and a bunch of non-English speakers that are just again they don't care. They don't care about you. See, like the people don't, and this is kind of the heart of this vibe that I'm trying to, incept is start to care a little bit, care about your fellow man, stop just like moving through life like this. So Poshmark is expensive. Facebook Marketplace is annoying and it doesn't have as many people searching. And so that leaves eBay. eBay is so far definitely the coolest one. It has really good fees. It's not as cheap as Facebook. Facebook is definitely the cheapest fees that you're going to get. by far. But again, if no one's searching on Facebook to buy your stuff, then it doesn't matter, right? eBay definitely, like I said, has the biggest market share. So that's why I like eBay. It's not as cheap as Facebook, but it's got a lot of people searching on it. Probably more, yeah, definitely more than Poshmark and Facebook probably combined. So that's why eBay. That's the wares. Um, then let's get into how. Okay, this I wish I knew this a long time ago as well. What you want to do is you don't want to do like one thing at a time unless it's like you know, like a guitar or something like that. You know, if it's like I need to sell this guitar so I can get another guitar, then that makes sense. But really you want to batch all this stuff together, and that's why it's good to do it in transitional phases of life. You want to go through all your stuff and you want to get everything that you are ready to sell and put it in a big pile. This is my pile here. Okay, this is my inbox. This is my stuff that needs to be processed. Okay, so get a space. Make sure there's a space, a designated space, because this is a process. Okay, you're basically going to be a shipping and receiving department. Put all your stuff in your inbox, and then you need a space right about here, and also up there. Okay, you can see, you might be able to see there's a little pin up on the wall. That's where I put a hanger, and that's where I take photos of all my clothes. But everything else on this desk, and you know, make it look nice, and that's where you photograph everything. And so what you want to do is photograph all your stuff. Take pictures of the tags, take pictures of the front, any marks, any stains, any imperfections, take photos of that. And then you put them away in boxes. Okay, and these are your out boxes. Those boxes there, and then this whole table right here, that's all stuff that I'm getting rid of. There's my mom's old computer, there's my old ukulele, that's my old case. I'm trying to sell these shoes. We'll see how that goes, because my feet are really wide. I have abnormally wide feet, and those hurt my feet. So I ordered a custom pair of Vans. If you didn't know, Vans actually, you can custom order wide width shoes, which are pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for them to get here. Yeah, and that's another thing. It's like, you know, if you sell your old one, it justifies, you know, it helps subsidize the new. You know, if I sell those for $40, that paid for half of my new pair, which is pretty cool. You know, so yeah, inbox, photography station, outbox. Okay, because you're gonna want a designated spot for things to sit, because you're gonna have to sit there while people buy them, you know, and that's your process. Okay, so just embrace the process. All right, consider definitely get a good roll of tape. You're gonna need a good roll of tape, and also I start saving all your boxes and all your Amazon bags. Your boxes are really important if you have stuff that can wrinkle, like hats. If you're selling a hat, you're gonna need a box. You can't just put that in a bag, or else it's gonna get all misshapen before it gets to the buyer. And then that's your whole shipping and receiving. I also bought a label printer. Again, I'm neurotic and I return lots of stuff online. I'm always, if they have a seller profile for me, I probably have 60 or 70% returns, maybe even more. Like because I will buy like if I'm looking for a jacket, I'll buy a jacket from Lulu, I'll buy a jacket from Aloe, I'll buy a jacket from, I don't know, Cartwright, or Hawks was the last one I bought, and I will buy a jacket from Ruka. And they'll all get here, and I'll try on every single one, and then I'll see which one I like the best, and then I'll return the other three. That's how I move through life, okay? Now, again, I'm highly neurotic. Not everybody's like that. That's why I bought a label printer. I'm tired of printing out pieces of paper, cutting them up, getting a little scotch tape, and printing them on there, when instead, I literally can just hit print, it spits it out, I tear it, I peel it, I slap it, and that's it, okay? But in 2024, you actually don't really need that as much. If you sell something on eBay, eBay gives you a QR code, and you just show the QR code to the postal service person, and then they do all that. Then it prints it out right there for you. UPS, the returns, same thing. So you might not need it as much. But it's worth noting that even though you can go to the post office, show them a QR code, and they print you a label there, you have to wait in line. With the label printer, I just print my label, slap it on there, and then drop it off at the nearest receptacle. That's it. Sometimes the lines at the post office can get long. So, oh, I can actually plug that. There's my plug. If you want to know what label printer I use, I'll put a link in the description. How do you like that? Affiliate marketing. Okay, so I will make a percentage if you buy through that link. All right. I am really happy with that label printer. That was one of those things. This girl I was dating at the time and my mom both kind of laughed at me. They're just like, "Wow, dude, really, label printer?" And every single time I print something using that label printer, I am so thrilled to not have to cut out. Oh my god, it just sucks. Okay. Also, in addition to the lovely printer, the label printer, get a scale. A small food scale is perfect. This one you just turn on, set it to pounds and ounces, and let it do its thing. Why do you need this? Shipping. Believe it or not, weight is, I don't know if it's more important. I'm pretty sure it's more important than the size of the actual package itself. You're going to want to get a pirate ship account. They give you discounted shipping rates. So just log on, create a pirate ship account. It's going to ask you your home address, which it'll save for you. Wherever you're sending it to, it's going to ask you the dimensions of the package, length, width, and height. And then it's going to ask you its weight in pounds and ounces. And then you put all that in, and then it'll give you your shipping options, which is the cheapest way you can go, to my knowledge. One last thing that might be helpful is, how do you determine what you want to sell? This one's really hard, especially for me with shirts. This one's really hard. And this is my honest answer. It's not very easy. I wish I could just be like, here's the answer, but it's not that easy. What I do is I have my hell yeses. Those ones stay. Right? I want to just say it's either a hell yes or no, right? Like everybody says that. But the problem with that is sometimes something that's not a hell yes in this moment might be a hell yes a couple months later. And they'd be like, dang, that was my favorite thing. Why did I get rid of that? You know? Because clothes change with the seasons, right? Clothes even change with your mood, right? So this is my honest answer. Obviously, hell yeses, that's easy. Keep them there. Hell no's, that's obviously also easy. Get rid of them, right? The in-betweens are the hard ones, okay? And what you do for the in-betweens is you take them out and you put them in a box. And that way they're out of your field of vision. They're not occupying your psyche capacity. And then, inevitably in a few months, you'll be confronted by the box. And then you have to open up the box and look through the box to see what's there. And then that's your natural filtration mechanism. Whenever you go through that box, you'll be like, oh boy, look at this. And then you'll put it back and then blah, blah, blah. And then if you put it back and then you're still getting the same reaction, then it's probably time to go, right? Then it's probably time to let it go. But if you actually use it, right, then you know that it's a keeper, okay? Another way you could try to determine if you want to get rid of something is, and this is a really new one for me, is imagine if you could replace that item with something else, right? If you're like, yeah, like this is cool, but I really want this other thing, or you could imagine a cooler version of what it is, then that's another sign. It's like, okay, that's your sign to sell this and use that money to get the thing that you really want. And that's pretty much it. that's pretty much it. That's the whole process. Okay. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Um, I guess the last thing I'll say is like you might be wondering like, is it worth it? Okay, like there's this like they used to say Bill Gates makes so much money per hour that if he saw $100 bill on the ground, it wouldn't even be worth his time to to bend down and pick it up. That's how much money he's making. If you're making $50, $100 an hour, this ain't gonna be. This is not gonna be. It's not gonna compare to that. Okay, but I think that if we just put in a little bit of like kind of like care for our things instead of just dollars, you know, if we realize like these are things, man. Like, these are all things like that we, you know, there's a certain amount of life in all these things, and like you might not be financially compensated, but you will feel better and you'll probably make someone a lot happier, you know, because they got to buy something for cheap that maybe they couldn't afford otherwise, and you got to make a little bit of money, and the thing didn't have to go into landfill, you know. And to me, it just feels right in my soul, you know, to go through and do this. Yeah, is it a little bit neurotic? Yeah, it is. Do I go a little overboard? Sure, but sometimes you got to go overboard to find out where the barrier is. And now, and the more I do it, the more I realize, you know what? I'm gonna give myself permission to just donate this thing. You know. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that was a, you know, really good breakdown. This is all stuff that I wish I knew, like when I first started. So I hope it serves value. If it does serve value, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And subscribe for more stuff. I'll be posting more review videos about random things. And that's pretty much it. Okay? Cheers.